Hello and thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this is No More Water Fire Next Time. I have an interesting subject tonight about nuclear weapons, and the real reason. My name is Larry Duncan Allen. Let me turn this down. Hold on a second. Let me get my studio together. Kind of came on in here. Hold on. Okay, I'm back and I'm ready. I got it together this time. Now, before I get started about the nuclear weapons, I'm going to do a little public service announcement. New Shining Light Outreach Ministry, feeding the hungry 2 days a week. Everything's free. Every Monday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. You don't have to show an ID, no paperwork required. Just come and eat. Everyone is welcome. Come have a seat and enjoy good food. Now, in case there inclement weather, you can call 618-530-2347 or 618-558-6143 or 618-541-2534. And that's if the weather is bad. There's inclement weather. That's the only time you have to call those numbers to see, if they're going to be there. So that's at the New Shining Light Outreach Ministry. That's at 740 Broadway in Venice, Illinois, where Bishop John H. Williams is the pastor. You can also come by on Sundays at 11 for service. And also, you go by New Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Church at 4300 Converse in Caucasians Heights, Illinois, where my brother, Elder Roger Allen, is pastor. So, but be sure to go by New Shining Light that's on Thursdays, Monday and Thursdays at 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. where you can get free lunch. Okay, back to my subject. About nuclear weapons. When I say nuclear weapons was only meant for Caucasian nations. And the reason I say that is because, just stop and take a look. The only nations who are attacked for wanting to, on the verge of making nuclear weapons are non-Caucasian nations. Poland just announced that they're going to acquire their own nuclear weapons. Are they being invaded? Is their nuclear material are they trying to seize their nuclear materials? You see, if you notice, the most armed nations with the most weapons in the world are Caucasian nations, and it was designed that way. It's designed to keep Caucasian dominance of the earth. That's what NATO was built for, Caucasian dominance. If you notice, all the attack is non-Caucasian nations. And when they fight each other, it's called a world war. The only thing they hate about Hitler is that he had the nerve to attack Caucasians and Putin. But as long as they're attacking non-Caucasian nations, it's fine. They make them seem like they're crazy. They're not responsible enough. They say Iran shouldn't have nuclear weapons. They're not responsible. Who's going around the world attacking everyone, invading their land, destroying their cities. Israel and the United States, well, now Israel is not going around the world, but in that region. The United States is going around the world attacking non-Caucasian nations. That's all they attack. You see, what happened is, around the world, they put white nations are strategically located around the shipping lanes. That's why the white people was put in South Africa. That used to be called the Cape of Good Hope. The ships, that was a shipping lane until the Suez Canal was built. Because if it wasn't a shipping lane, white people would still, if it was still a shipping lane, white people would still have running the government of South Africa. They're still running it economically. They have all the wealth, 96% of the wealth, 80% of the farmland. So it's still their nation, really. Okay, Argentina. It was strategically located. Argentina, see, Africa wasn't the only black continent. Argentina was also. So Argentina is a continent and a nation. But it was inhabited by the Aborigines. The people, I think, from Portuguese came down and took their land because it was strategically located by the shipping lanes. Israel, strategically located. They didn't make that nation there just because they felt good, felt bad about what happened to them in Germany during World War II. They're strategically located where the oil and shipping lane is at. All around the world is that way. Everywhere there are shipping lanes, you find you got a white nation settled in there somewhere. Now, India has nuclear weapons in Pakistan. There was a rogue Korean scientist who helped them to get it. Israel helped South Africa get theirs. Now, they say Israel has nuclear weapons is illegal. Is anyone invading them, going in there, taking theirs? According to the Non-Proliferation Act, which Iran signed. They signed the Non-Proliferation Act. But now, they're about to go ahead and make nuclear weapons because they have to. That's because they keep being attacked. They keep being attacked. I would too. Okay. If I had an arsenal, let's say a person has an arsenal in their house, and they keep coming up to your house attacking you, taking your stuff. You know what's going to happen? Sooner or later, and then tell you can't have a weapon in your house. But they keep coming in your house, taking what they want, but telling you can't have a weapon in your house. When they have plenty. Sooner or later, what are you going to do? You're going to get them a weapon just to be able to repel them coming to your house, taking what they want. And that's what Iran is about to do. North Korea, you notice they don't talk about them anymore. Nuclear weapons are more of a deterrent than anything. Come on now, those people in Iran are not crazy. They're a very advanced society, very technical and very intelligent. But they make it seem like as though they're a bunch of kooks, like they're a third world nation. And many of those nations are much more advanced than the United States. Their cities are much more advanced. The infrastructure is better. We see here some of our sewer systems was made back in the 1800s because we spent money on wars, building bases all around the world, all up in everyone else's business. And that's why our infrastructure looks horrible. Go to these other nations, many of them in Africa. Go to Nigeria, look at Lagos. Make American cities look sick. Ghana, go to Accra. They have neglected this nation. That's why we can't get free health care. All other major nations has free health care. They want these big insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies to keep making money. But see, when it comes to the nuclear weapons, when they stopped under North Korea when they was flying missiles, not testing bombs, but flying missiles. All over the news, they were talking about Obama. He's weak. And you can't stop someone else from testing missiles. Really, it's none of your business what these other people have in their nation. You got everything you want in yours, and other Caucasian nations. Okay, he didn't get a nuclear bomb on Obama. Trump went over there cozying up to him. Next thing you know, North Korea has a nuclear bomb. You don't know anything about them anymore. I believe Trump goes over there and those people pay him off. Look at what he's doing in Iran. He's sending his son-in-law, businessman, and this other guy, what's his name? I think his name. But but you know who I'm talking about, who's going over there with Krishna? He's a banker. They're going over there to make money, trying to squeeze money out of these people. They don't care anything about nuclear weapons. And then, then what has happened with Saudi Arabia and the other Middle East nations, Trump said they talk like they were surprised that they bombed Saudi Arabia and Dubai and the other nations and the United Arab Emirates. But they knew their plan was that they would attack Iran would attack them. They would attack Iran. They had to destroy each other's salinization plants and oil fields, and then Israel would have their way in that region, be the major power in that region. But what they didn't expect was that Iran was going to attack the U.S. bases. They destroyed those bases. If the mainstream news won't tell it, I think it was CBS finally told it. Iran destroyed one of the largest bases in the world was in, I think, Bahrain. Iran destroyed it. Remember they said when the soldiers was living in hotels, they had to get up out of there. But they're making it sound like everything's going their way, but it's not. Iran destroyed those bases. Now Kim Jong-un has nuclear weapons. You don't hear anyone saying anything about him now. That's what Iran going to have to do. They see that's what they have to do. So now the Middle East nation, back to what I was saying, since they pulled that, they threw Saudi Arabia and all of them under the bus. They wanted mutual destruction among the Middle East nations, the Arab nations, Israel, and the United States. And they know that now. If they still side with the United States, I think they're going to tell you, well, I can't say I think, but from what I heard, they actually want the United States to get those bases up out of there. Because they was there trading in petrodollars, U.S. currency, which was holding the United States up. All oil had to be bought with U.S. dollars. But now they're converting over to the Chinese, the Quran, because they can't trust the United States anymore. And they don't for the United States, the security apparatus failed. Those nations in ruin, but Dubai is just ruined. It's done. It's just done. Because how are you going to attract tourists? They won't feel safe there. They've lost so much money. And that's going to happen all over. But they know now how the United States conspired with Israel and tried to get them to do mutual destruction. But it didn't happen the way that they thought it was going to happen. Iran actually attacked U.S. bases and military interests. You see, Iran has never attacked anyone without being attacked first. Iran has never fired a missile into Israel unless Israel attacked them first. Now, who's not responsible? And see, when it comes to black nations, you know, South Africa was a nuclear armed nation. Israel helped them to acquire nuclear weapons. But when the white people left, the weapons had to be dismantled for the black people to take over the government, because they do not want a black government in control of nuclear weapons. And I know some people have told me, say, all you talk about is race. You make everything about race. I don't make it about race. Society does. This is a racial world. And if you want to find out the truth of what's going on with anything, look at the race first when it comes to matters in this world. Because if you don't, you're not going to see the truth. They say the only time they say you shouldn't talk about race is when it's us. And you're playing the race card. But they're the ones who keep putting it in the deck. They come on our social media page. Anything black people do, they're making racial comments. The same stuff they've been saying for 400 years. They'll never grow up. You notice, we don't sit around talking about other races of people in our homes when we get together. How much we hate white people, how much we hate Latino. We don't even talk about those people. Excuse me. But they sit around in their homes talking about us. What they don't like about us. How they hate us, can't stand us. Remember the black woman who was she was at work in an office. She was in there with white people. She was the only black person there. She left her phone there and it was on record. She said she didn't mean to, but well, if she says so. But when she listened, when she left out, they said, they don't wash their hair. To my black people don't wash our hair. Now, a room full of black people like that, if a white woman had left out, we wouldn't have paid her no attention. We wouldn't be talking about her hair and all of that. We'd talk about some other black people before we would have said something about her. But not we, because I talk about them. But most black people would talk about another black person first. We don't do anything to anyone except each other, unless they do something to us first. We have more fear from each other than anyone else does. That's why you see when they get homeless, they have to come around our areas. And no one does anything to them. But that's why I mention race. I didn't create it. I just talk about what's going on. And I can back it up with facts. Just like what I'm saying tonight about the nuclear weapons. I can back it up with facts. I've been doing this too long to come on and not know what I'm talking about. And I don't have to keep notes because I have a good memory, and all of this stuff I can keep right off the top of my head. Because I tell you, okay, remember when Russia, which at that time was the Soviet Union, they were going to put nuclear weapons in Cuba. That's when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened under John Kennedy. They was about to have a standoff down in the Gulf, the United States and the Soviet Union, which is now Russia. Ukraine used to have more nuclear weapons than any other nation in the world. But what happened, they were Russian nuclear weapons. They had them stationed in Ukraine. Remember the Chernobyl nuclear accident that happened? Chernobyl was in Ukraine. That was part of the Soviet Union at the time. After the Soviet Union broke up, they took their nuclear weapons back to Russia. And that's why they're trying to get. See what Putin is doing. He's trying to reestablish the Soviet Union, one nation at a time. That's not going to happen. These people are destroying themselves. That's what they're doing. There are people in decline. But the only thing I see about with the African nations, where's your spine at? How people just come in your nation and take your stuff sometimes without a battle. You just give your stuff up. You even gave us up. Let them come take us. People just had their way with you. You're in South Africa now trying to run out other black African immigrants. Excuse me. What are you going to do about those white invaders? Who has all your wealth? See, we know how to deal with each other. But we let them have their way. Even here in the United States, it's the same way. It's the very same way. They can just take our stuff. They can come do whatever they want to do. And we'll let them have it. Hopefully that's changing. But I just can't see how people went into a nation and just took over their nation and resources and everything. And you didn't, that should have been that fight should have kept on going. You're not taking nothing of mine. We're just going to have to fight to the unaliving of us both. Because you're not taking nothing up out of here. And you're not taking over this land. And if you did, you better watch your back. Because it ain't over. But you just folded. Even here in the United States, many of the black areas, the black people run it politically. Other races run it economically. And that was by design. That's why they brought the immigrants in, to keep us from creating wealth and money turning over with us. But it's the same way like in Africa. We never have complete control over our own stuff. It was designed that way, but we don't have to keep going with the design. See, Iran is going to get a nuclear weapon now. And then when they do, you know what's going to happen? They're going to leave Iran alone. They do that with every nation who they try to stop getting nuclear weapons. Once they get it, they leave them alone. That's why those nations get it. It's a deterrent. You know, a nation that's got nuclear weapons does not get attacked. You don't hear nothing about Kim Jong-un anymore in North Korea. They've left him alone. Because he has a deterrent. And when Iran get a deterrent, they're going to leave them alone. And because you can't believe nothing this Trump regime says, Iran struck some U.S. warships. But they're hiding it. You know, tell you how many of our servicemen were unalived because they lie about everything. Iran been handing it to them. That's why they want that ceasefire. See, people who are winning, they're not worried about a ceasefire. If you're winning, you have everything under control. You're not worried about a ceasefire. And I've had some people take me, why am I talking about that's not our problem? Oh, yes, it is. We live in this nation. And if something comes to these shores, it's going to affect us also. Burying our head in the sand is not going to make it go away. Because when they start that draft, that's your sons and daughters. If they start a draft, these high prices, it's just not affecting other people. What's going over there is affecting us also. And we can't bury our heads in the sand and say we don't have anything to do with it. We may not have anything to do with what's going on over there. But as far as this nation is concerned, it affects us. And this is a strange war, though. I've never seen a war where many people wouldn't mind if the opposing nation wins. You got a lot of Americans who wouldn't mind if Iran won. As long as they win it over there, not over here. Don't bring it over here. And the United States is going to keep it up until one day someone's going to be able to reach here. See, they got the ocean between them. They see, Trump is so dumb. He don't realize what NATO was made for. It was to ensure Caucasian dominance of the earth and to keep the fighting over there and not over here. So you see what happened in World War II? The only reason that Hitler didn't take the United Kingdom is because of the British Canal, the English Canal. That's the only reason. Body of water. That's what's saving the United States from ever getting hit. Our city's being bombed. Bodies of water. But Trump don't understand that. And he want to go back to that old method of might makes right. If you get the mightiest army, you just take what you want from everyone. But that don't last long. Because we don't live in that kind of world anymore. People are beating your billion-dollar systems with little cheap weapons now. They found a way to get around it. The United States is. We are the mightiest military in the world. And they do. You should. That's where you put all your money in. You put all your money into it. Other people didn't put most of their money into military like the United States did. They put money into their infrastructure, technology, and their people. The United States put their money into most of the best technology into weapons, going around the world, fighting wars, maintaining bases over all around the world, all up in everyone else's business, while your business back here is crumbling. You kept the people back here in line by race. The white people satisfied as long as they got a little bit more than we do. And they find out now they don't. They don't really make that much more money than we do. They don't know about all the money we make. We do things on the side. Have a job doing things on the side. Probably make more money than us. But what happens is, excuse me, what makes the difference is that they're able to get lines of credit that we can't get. So we have to pay out our money cash for stuff. They get more because they're able to get it on credit. That's why when things go bad, they cry more because they can't pay that stuff off. But ours is paid off because we had to take our money and buy it. We may have a little less, but it's ours. When we open a business, we can't get those business loans. Many times can't get home loans. So we have to save up for it. Now we can get nice cars, can get loans for automobiles, because they know they can sell it to you. You don't pay for it, come repossess it, sell it again. Make even more money. That's the reason you can get those home loans. That's why years ago, when you pass by a black person's house, you see a house that the car didn't match the house. The house looked a little shabby. They got a brand new, expensive car sitting out front. It's not that, but yet you go inside the house, it looked like a palace in there. They couldn't get the money for a home improvement loan because they didn't want your house if you didn't pay. They wouldn't foreclose on your house because they didn't want it. The only reason black people are able to get these reverse mortgages on their homes is because, and they actually sometimes give a little more than what the house is worth. What they're doing is they want part of the portfolio. See, this nation operates on lines of credit. By them having your home in their portfolio, that increases their line of credit. They don't really want your house. That's why you let you stay in it. Don't stay in it. Because they get that house as real estate part of their portfolio. Now they can get, it increases their line of credit. So they're not doing anything for you. They do this stuff for themselves. Yeah, but back to my subject about the nuclear weapons. Who in their right mind, to show you how diabolical people could be, would invent something like that? Weapons of mass destruction. Because you too lazy to go out there and fight. Weapons of mass destruction kill millions of people at a time. What diabolical people, who do you know thought of something? Who do you think thought of something like that? The usual suspects. Like they say about us, usual suspects. It's the usual suspects. Masters of unaliving. Masters at it. But if Iran get nuclear weapons, I hope they do. Then they'll be left alone. And they're just handling it with such poise against this Trump breaking all down, talking crazy. You see the poise that their leaders have? But they're telling Trump, you can't, if you agreed with us on a deal, you took it back to your buddy Bibi Netanyahu, or Bibi said no. See, I used to think that Israel, that was the United States flunky. Their B word. It's the other way around. The United States is Israel flunky. Israel B word. And Putin's flunky. And Putin's B word, Trump is. So, I don't see Iran giving up anything, and I wouldn't blame them. I know Obama, when they lift those sanctions, they said Iran's middle class grew out, and so making more and more money. After Trump took them away, many of them went into poverty. How can other nations? You should be the number one in economics and all the Caucasian nations. You got all the black and brown nations sanctioned. They tried to tell Zambia, say they're going to sanction them if they don't give them their natural resources. You know, Zambia told them where to go and what to kiss. See, in past times, they went along with that just to get a little aid. I sell my stuff myself, and I don't need your aid. See, but that's what's happening now in Africa. They're selling their own stuff. They're refining their own oil, doing their own mining. See what happened? See, Iran was the first democracy in the Middle East. In 1953, under President Dwight Eisenhower, Iran, the elected president said, we're going to nationalize our oil, refine it ourselves, and keep our own money. The CIA and British Petroleum overthrew his government, and they put him in jail, where he passed away later, and then installed the Shah of Iran. Well, what happened was the Shah brutalized the people for 27 years. So what they did was they overthrew him in 79. But see, they say, the reason I say this is to say this. They say that Obama gave Iran a plane load of money. He did. It wasn't a bribe, and he wasn't an idiot. You see, Iran had bought weapons under the Shah. But after the overthrow, the weapons was never delivered, but they still had Iran money. Ronald Reagan had said that if they could get a nuclear deal with Iran, their money could be returned. But, well, Obama brokered a nuclear deal with Iran, so that was Iran's money they were paying them back. But by them not having any type of diplomatic relations, they didn't have a central bank that they could send the money through, so they delivered it in cash. See, past presidents honored the word of their predecessors. If that was Trump, they wouldn't do it. Because he's a liar and a crook. Unless he can skim him something off the top. And that's what happened in many nations. They went in there trying to get their natural resources. They went into Congo when Congo nationalized their oil. The president, they unalived the president of Congo, took their oil. Now the African nations not putting up with it anymore, especially down in Burkina Faso. I mean, they're really doing it down there, and they're funding their own projects. Many of these nations are telling the United States, we don't need your aid anymore, because they came there, they ran experiments on the people there. I told you the show I did about Ebola. It leaked from a United States biochemical weapons lab. I thought they said they don't make bioweapons. They were trying to make a weapon that killed black people only. I mean, unalived black people only. You notice after they found out the white guy got it, they brought him back to the States and said, oh, we think we got a cure. All of a sudden, they got a cure because they found it didn't work. White folks can get it too. Now, am I making it about race? Or are they? People say I make it about race. And things are just about race, and I talk about it. The facts are about race. We didn't do it. We didn't put the card in the deck. You did. And see, with the so that's what's going on. Trump went out of this so bad, he got please Israel, and Israel is now losing status in the world, and I'm glad. They used to be seen as people had pity on them for the Holocaust, which our Holocaust was greater than theirs. But now Israel used to be seen as victims. Now they're seen as the perpetrators. You have hosts on TV talking against Israel now, something they used to wouldn't do. You couldn't get anyone to say anything against Israel. But they're doing it now. I have. I always did. Because I tell you why. These people you see up there in Israel now, when did Israel become all white? Just when? When did they become all white? That's not the real Israel that's spoken of in the Bible. And it tells you that the imposters was going to inhabit the land. They said they will say they're Jews, but they're not. They're imposters. They're the synagogue of Satan. Look it up in your Bible. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up, see exactly. I know the scripture, but I have to look it up. But look, it's quite easy to do now with these devices. I should have done it. Well, I wasn't planning on mentioning that. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. You come at me and try to hurt me and mine, I don't care who you the children of. You better come and ask that he help you. Anybody gonna let you just do whatever you want to? Because see, this Israel is going on an attack after everyone else. They're committing genocide. And you come after my people, I don't care who your God is or who you the children of. We're just going to have to find out. I'm not just going to stand there and let you do it. And I'm glad that black people are delineating. And we need to stop just talking to other people. We got to put some heat on them sometime. We done applied enough water. It's time for the fire. We only do something when they do something to us physically. We got to apply some strategies and stop reacting to everything that they do. We're reacting. They strike down the voting rights bill. We react. We knew it was coming. Just figure out a system of our own to keep things going. Because every time we start doing well, they bring out a new reconstruction. This is not the first time this has happened. They tried to take all our rights away. They did it back during the first Reconstruction, because black people got too prosperous. Anytime they think we're getting too big for our britches, they bring out a Reconstruction. And these Latinos, the only reason they're being attacked, they used to be honorary whites. All these other immigrants, excuse me, at one time they were honorary whites, but they helped elect Obama. They used to vote Republican all the time, and they wouldn't vote for black candidates, and they were counting on that. But what happened was they fooled them and helped elect Obama. And you notice they've been a problem ever since. Oh, we got to stop the browning of the United States. We have to stop all these immigrants from coming in. That's because they helped elect Barack Obama. And that's how the nation is getting too brown. But now black people are delineating and looking out for ourselves. That's why me and them call themselves FBAs, Foundational Black Americans. We're not worried about no Jamaicans, Haitians, none of those people. Because they came here, and I understand they skipped to their group, because people prosper in groups, not as a race. That's why I said people want to remain African Americans. Keep calling yourself that. Want to be FBA, be FBA. That's why I don't see why you all attacking each other. We don't all have to be the same. We're the only people to have this amount of people in one nation, and we don't even have different ethnic groups. We're the only people on the planet that does that. You go into any nation that has tens of millions of people, they don't all have the same culture. But we don't have any culture. What we call culture is not culture, because it's not setting our standards of how we operate. We really don't have a motive of operation. Then when you see all this fighting and people just do whatever they want to do, because we do not have no standards by which we live. Like, I do what I want to do, and nobody better not say nothing. And then when you end up in jail or getting your thumb split, you wonder why. But no, we're not. But nuclear weapons wasn't meant. It was not meant for non-Caucasian nations. Some slipped through the cracks. They slipped through the cracks, but it was not meant for them. Oh, let me play. Let me play this video real quick. Play this video for you.
Is there like a rule that I'm missing where only the United States is allowed to have a nuclear weapon?
Yes, it's called the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. It was opened up for signature in 1968 and started to be enforced in 1970. It was an international treaty that basically said everyone that currently has nukes can keep them, but those countries are never allowed to transfer nuclear material to other nations that don't have them, and any nation that didn't currently have nuclear weapons could not then develop them. 191 countries signed it. At the time it was signed, there were only 3 countries that refused to sign. Those countries were India, Israel, and Pakistan. Now there is a 4th country that didn't sign, South Sudan, but they came later because they were founded in 2011. But just to be clear, Iran signed this. Iran signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, stating that they would never develop nuclear weapons. So yeah, when you're asking like if there's a rule, yes, it's an international treaty that's been in place for 55 years. So there you go.
You see, Iran obeyed all the rules. They've obeyed all the rules, but yet they keep getting attacked. Matter of fact, each time they go into negotiations, they get attacked while they're in negotiations, because Israel doesn't want Iran in the United States to sign any type of treaty. They want war. Israel is at its best when they're at war, but they wouldn't expect to get hit like they've been getting hit. And see what happens. See, Israel cannot defeat Iran on their own. Iran would crush them. And they know that even with all their planes and all, and now they're finding out Iran planes are hidden in Pakistan. Yeah, they have the warplanes hidden, the fighters hidden in Pakistan. Much of their oil is going over land through Pakistan and then to China. Going through pipelines. China made a pipeline after what happened during the Gulf War in 2001. No, the one with Kuwait, that was before. That was in the late 90s. That George Herbert Walker Bush, the Bush Senior started because when Iraq invaded Kuwait. You see the reason that, let me take my numbers down. The reason that Iraq invaded Kuwait is because Kuwait was actually a part of Iraq, but the British sectioned it off and called it Kuwait. They really destroyed that part of the world. Just like Africa was one big country. The British and the Caucasian nation carved it up into all those different nations. No, it had nations, but not that many. Just to keep them at each other's throat. They actually caused wars between them and sold weapons to each side. All those wars, and if you notice, the immigrants who come to the United States, you notice how the United States is opening up for different white people to come. You see them coming. They don't want to come to the United States. You know who immigrates to the United States in numbers? Nations that the United States has destabilized. Somalia, Sudan, Haiti. Which was the other one? They immigrate from. Those are most of the black nations that they come in numbers. You know, all people gonna have some immigrants. Just like you have people from the United States immigrate to other nations. But I'm talking about in numbers. The Nigerians only come for school, and some of them end up staying. As a matter of fact, Nigerians is one of the most prosperous ethnic groups in the United States. But only nations. You take the Central American nations, Cuba, still one of Daniel Taylor was at Nicaragua. All of those nations that the United States destabilized, Venezuela. The nations that you don't see Brazilians immigrating to the United States or Argentinians in numbers. You don't see Ethiopians, South Africans, Ghanaians, Kenyans, Ugandans, Egyptians immigrating to the United States because the United States didn't destabilize their nation. So the United States is responsible for all those immigrants that's coming here. They caused it. You caused these nations to be poor. They want to call them S-hole nations. You made them that way. Could you imagine how rich Africa could be if them Europeans had stayed where they was at and minded their own business? Europe was built off the riches of Africa. So was the United States. But I just can't see how they let them take their stuff, though. And sometimes they put up a fight. We have to look out for our own, because they're looking out for their own. And we have to stop hating each other, because black people, all this stuff we're talking about doing, all that working together and all that, we're not going to do it. Not anytime too soon. We don't like each other. We came under that same ideology that they came up under, that we were inferior. And if anything, and if black people take over anything, it's inferior. You notice when Barack Obama became president, you hear many people say, "Oh, he's not president. He's just a puppet and all that." Well, why come you didn't say that when the white one was in office? See, people, black people, many black people, they feel that when a black person take over something, it can't be worth anything. That's why I mean, you know, it's after Obama was president, the Republicans start picking up more black vote. The Democratic presidency must not be worth anything if a black man became president. If you have a white person working for you, they think he's your boss. They've done it to me before. And you know what? We just don't like each other. Everything they say about us, we say it too. And even worse. Everything they feel about us, most of us feel it also. And even worse. Used to be a time when you came around white people, they got scared, get to clutching, and you walk in their business, wondering what you coming in there for. But the black business do that. Coming like, well, what in the world he want? What in the world she want? When we take care of your family, work, take care of your family. Because all that community building they're talking about, we're not going to do it. All that kumbaya, cohesive, black unity they're talking about, it's not going to happen. We don't like each other enough. We don't. Let's just face the truth. Take care of you and your family, because if you're going to be chasing a dream that's not going to happen, if you call yourself going to have all this black unity and black love, there is no black love. Just tell the truth. I mean, just look at the way we operate with each other. Walk down the street, try to pretend you like each other, the men and women, or the women do it so the man just leave him alone. Like he don't exist. But then when someone does something to you, you want him to risk his life and health for you. But that's all that black unity is not going to happen. You may get a few, but not all of us cohesive together. That's not going to happen. And I know that's not what you want to hear many times, because we don't want to hear something we think is false. But I know what I'm talking about. We're not going to build all this stuff together like we say. It's not going to happen. Build what you can, but if you got a few people you all want to build something together, fine. But all of us building something as a people, that's not going to happen. The only way it will happen is going to have to be some divine intervention to make it happen. Right now you're feuding with each other. The African American, the FBA. Now, all we do is beef with each other. Do you see these other people doing that? They don't all think the same. But one thing they come together about is us. And then some of them don't. Because some of black people's biggest allies has been other white people. Because the people of color are haters, our own haters. So, let's think realistically. That's what we have to do. We have to think realistically. We're not going to do all that stuff we're talking about doing. You can keep trying if you want to. Yeah, we gotta have unity. What people where all of them are unified? White people aren't even unified. They're fraction. Latinos, everybody. They're fraction. They're not all unified. They just take care of business and do what they got to do. If you say do that, I'd say we could do that. But you don't even want to do that with each other. I can't unify with most of you because I'm tired of hearing all that cursing. You can't open your mouth without cursing. I'm tired of your bad behavior. See, we posting that mess all. I know I'm off subject, but I don't talk about that enough. We're all on social media posting all this crazy stuff. I know some of it's AI and made other places, but all of it is not. Much of that is you misbehave. Why you got to post that stuff? We already have a bad ethnic image. Why add to it? Yeah. So I know what I said don't sound good. It's not what you're used to hearing or want to hear, but it's just facts. We don't have no black love. If anything, we got black hate. We cannot expect other people to respect and love us when we don't respect and love each other. And you know what? You don't have to love each other to get something done. Just work together as a people. But we're not going to do that. When you depend on love to do something, you're not going to love everybody. Remember a long time ago when people got married? They didn't get married out of no love and romance. It was an agreement, almost like a contractual agreement. And they stayed together to death do them part. Now you can't stay together but a few years, 5 years at the most. The average black marriage don't last but 5 years. Because when the women want romance, marriage is not about no romance. He don't bring me flowers no more. He did that to get you. Because that's what you wanted. Why you got to keep doing it? He got you now. And if you're going to divorce over some flowers, you shouldn't have been married in the first place. And see, when that initial feeling is gone, you think the marriage is over. Because you don't get the butterflies no more. Because women break up 90% of relationships. You are the ones who can't stick and stay. I don't mean to get off into that. But look, I just to say that our black people just work, take care of your families. And if you find some people you can build something with, get some going with, fine. You all need to get together and like a group and form your own ethnic groups. That's what we got to do. That's why other people come here and prosper. They work as an ethnic group, not as Africans or black people. That's why they didn't want to get in with us. I didn't understand that first. They want to work with their people as an ethnic group, and that's how they prosper. We would think all of us supposed to do something as one race. It don't happen that way. And it's not going to happen with us. That's why I say all this stuff is not going to happen. Because we have the wrong concept of it. We're not going to prosper as people who are just 53 million strong, 43, whichever it is. And that's it. And even our numbers, even our numbers have went down because over the years. Our number went down over the years because many of our babies was aborted. And people are not getting married. And the majority of black men, I think like 54% of black men are single and childless. Women are having babies by 80%, 20%. 80% of the babies are being born to 20% of the men. That's why you see one man with no children, another man with 10. You women know he got all those babies with other women, then you go have some with him. And you call that strong? Not in the mind. It's not a strong mind. We cannot build a community like that. We can even build families. How in the world are we going to build a community? Years from now, we're going to be talking the same thing in the same position, if not worse. Because we're not going to do what it takes to get us ahead, because it don't sound good to you. Get out of your emotions. That's why other people moving, they move. If some Latinos start moving to East St. Louis, 10 years from now, they've been took it over because they got families. They're an ethnic group, not a race. You do not prosper as a race. You prosper as groups. Something that we don't have and not close to getting any. You could be, if all of us, 53 million of us, became the FBAs, that's not going to work either. If all became African Americans like we were before, that's not going to work. We have to divide up. That's how people make it. I know it don't sound good. It may not be something that you want to do, but it's a fact. And that's all I can go by, is facts. And I don't say this stuff if I can't back it up. I can take you through and show you examples of people who have prospered. Do we ever do that? Look at the people who are making it and try to emulate them and see what's going on and study that. See, and what we got to do, we got to get up and work and do what we got to do. I know God would help us with things. A lot of times He do it through us. We think all we supposed to do is sit down and say, oh, God will handle it. Then when it don't get handled, I don't know why God didn't come through for me. He came through. You just didn't do nothing. Think you just gonna sit there? And sometimes it is a time for you to just be still and wait. But not all the time. Well, I'm not gonna hold you long, but I know I get off such topic. I normally do, because I don't just so long. One person can talk about the same topic. But see, the thing is, but you look it up yourself. Look at all the nations that has nuclear weapons. Caucasian nations. And like I said, Poland said they're gonna make some here about this. They announced that about 2 months ago. No one's attacked them because they're Caucasian. And it's always about race. Even with us. With us, it's about race towards black people, to mistreat our own. So that's about race too. Well, I'm not going to hold you long tonight. But remember the announcement I read you at the beginning of the service. New Shining Light Outreach Ministry. New Shining Light Outreach Ministry is at 740 Broadway in Venice, Illinois. At the New Shining Light Holiness Deliverance Non-Denominational Church, where Bishop John H. Williams is the pastor. They're feeding the hungry 2 days a week for free, every Monday and Thursday. And don't go out there Tuesday and Wednesday or Friday. It says every Monday and Thursday. No ID, no paperwork required. Everyone is welcome. Come on in, eat, have a nice seat, and enjoy the food. But in case of inclement weather, call first. Number 618-530-2347 or 618-558-6143 or 618-541-2534. There's New Shining Light Outreach Ministry, feeding the hungry. Well, they're not hungry, just feeding people. Every Monday and Thursday. So come on by. It's at 740 Broadway in Venice, Illinois. I also go by my brother's church, Pastor Roger Allen, New Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Church, for service. Service started at 11. It's at 43rd and Converse in Cahokia Heights, Illinois. And if you're in the Venice area, go by New Shining Light at 11 for their worship service on Sundays. Well, like I said, I'm not going to hold you long tonight. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this has been No More Water, Fire, next time. Thanks for tuning in.